honorary lifetime memberships. It's good. This is going to be memorable. Over the years, Eunice Grayson, Stuart Perry, and Rankin McSween. And last year, an award was given to Diana Jeddick for her longstanding and multiple roles of leadership on the board. So this year, the staff, we put in place a more formal process, including a call for nominations that was opened at the beginning of April. All of the members, all of you here should have gotten a few notices about that. And a selection committee was created to review the candidacies. I'd like to thank Barb Davies and Jean-François Perron from the board, as well as Raisa Marks and Alexandre Aplin from the staff who participated in that. And special thanks as well to Adriana Zielinski, who coordinated the entire process this year. So I'm very pleased to announce that we have 5 winners in 2021. As I said, there's lots to celebrate. Each winner will be introduced by someone who's familiar with the recipient accomplishments and followed by brief remarks from the winner themselves. So let's get right to it. To introduce our first winner, I'm pleased to welcome CCEDNet's Director of Government Relations, Raisa Marks.
Thank you, Mike. And hi, everyone. So I'm very pleased to be presenting today's first Stronger Together Award to Rosalind Lockyer. So Roz founded the Perro Center for Women's Enterprise in Thunder Bay in 1995. As a women's community loan fund, their mission was to combat sexism in the entrepreneurship development sector. And over 27 years, Perro's programs have expanded phenomenally, increasing the reach of the organization, which now boasts over 180 peer lending circles in Ontario, making the Perro Circle Network the world's largest women's peer learning circle conglomerate. Rose is co-founder of the Women's Economic Council, a board member for the Women's Enterprise Organizations of Canada, and an original member of the People-Centered Economy Group. And even within the CCEDNet circle, Rose's leadership is impressive. She was a longtime member of the Policy Council, serving as the chair or co-chair for many years, and she serves on CCEDNet's Finance and Audit Committee. And she also joined up with other members to support our government relations project that started last year. Recognized internationally as well, Roz received a Women of the Decade in Community Leadership Award at the Women's Economic Forum in New Delhi in 2018. And just last week, she received an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from Lakehead University, recognizing her contribution to the field of humanities and the fabric of community in Thunder Bay, Northwestern Ontario, and beyond. I've had the honor of working with Roz over the past year and am continually inspired by her commitment to women, gender equity, and women-centered CED. So congratulations, Roz.
Thank you, Raisa. I have to respond to that in a minute and a half, which is hard for Roz. Anyway, my journey with CCEDNet started shortly after its inception as a member of the Digby network. I was encouraged to join by one of my longtime associates, Carol Rock from RED, and one of the founders of the Digby network, which is now CCEDNet. I learned a lot from this experience with Carol Rock and with CCEDNet because Carol was a founder of a wonderful women-centered community economic development organization, and it went down about 2 years after she resigned, after she retired. And since that time, I've worked to sustain Perro for the long term, but I've also worked with other organizations such as the Women's Economic Council, and I see Janet Krantz here today from WEC, and I'd like to recognize her. The Blue Sky Healing Center was another one we worked with, an Indigenous organizations in the North, and also in CCEDNet and other organizations throughout Ontario. We've had various projects, and we always started with building up that reserve fund. And you can see CCEDNet's done a great job of that. That wasn't only my work, it was combined work of the Finance Committee and our wonderful Executive Director, Michael Toy, a great leader in this sector. We also work to diversify sources of funding and integrating succession plans into every level of the organization. But most important, it's collaborating and integrating decision-making in all levels, like staff, board, and its members. And I wanted to mention that because a lot of you are out there as organizations, and you know that's a a little bit of wisdom I'd like to pass on to you, because it's so important to keep the CED sector strong. At CCEDNet, as an active and longtime member, I've tried to show leadership where I thought my skills and my values and experience and my dollars could be most valuable. And I valued my time with CCEDNet and with collaborating with members who have similar values and many and varied connections and skills and goals. And it's been a phenomenal journey, an adventure, I would say, an adventure of sharing, of advocating, learning, and empowerment. And it goes full circle of giving and receiving. And I can say loudly, yes, we are stronger together. And I just want to recognize a few people, because remember, I only have a minute and a half and it's running out now. A few of my CCEDNet associates, Carol Rock from RED, who I've mentioned, but also Melanie Kahn from Women's Economic Council, Sandra Mark from Small Scales Food Processors of Canada, David Lepage from Bisocial, Mike Lewis, Paul Bourne, and Mike Toy at CCEDNet, and all the rest of the People-Centered Economy Committee, which has been a phenomenal committee to get things done with government. But they're just a few. But in closing, I want to say this year of COVID-19 pandemic has hit women across the country. It's hit them disproportionately and negatively impacted in every way that this pandemic can hit people who are trying to move forward in employment and in growing their businesses and looking after their families. But you know what I did? I leaned in with my CCEDNet associates, and I leaned in to get this message out and suggestions for change to get this message out to government. And you know what? We have had results. So thank you, Reza. And thank you for your leadership as the Government Relations Director. You've been phenomenal. So thank you for that. And yes, we are stronger together. Thank you for this wonderful award and for recognizing my journey, my adventure with CCEDNet. Thank you.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you, Roz. I should say Dr. Lockyer. Fabulous. This is really great. And you know, the reference to intersectionality in our theory of change draws on feminist thinking and the work and the voices that you represent so ably at the network. So we're doing hard to do justice to your excellent work. Thank you for all of that. Okay, this is great. Time for our second award, because I don't know if we're going to end early this time. So our second winner gets to be introduced by a certain Mike Toy, who's actually going to do the presentation in French. So now is the time to select English interpretation if you'd like that. Notre deuxième récipiendaire est William et Ninacs, bien connu comme Bill. Le parcours de Bill inclut des postes de gestionnaire dans les secteurs publics et privés, ainsi qu'une vaste expérience dans le domaine communautaire, où il a aidé de soutenir des groupes de revendication et de services, des coopératives de consommation et de travail et d'autres organismes sociaux. Bill a été actif sur le plan du développement économique communautaire pendant plus de 25 ans, notamment en tant que coordonnateur de la première coopération de développement communautaire au Québec, dont il y en a maintenant plus d'une cinquantaine au Québec. Pour longtemps, il était consultant à la coopérative de La Clé à Victoriaville. Il a été aussi co-directeur pour le Québec, pour le réseau canadien de développement économique communautaire dans ses premières années, directeur général par intérim du réseau et plus récemment un membre du conseil d'administration du réseau. Bill détient un doctorat en service social, qui est un des rares doctorats qui porte précisément sur le développement économique communautaire au Québec. Et depuis plus d'une vingtaine d'années, il est chercheur dans le domaine, chercheur et praticien dans le domaine et dans ceux de l'intervention axée sur l'empowerment, du développement des communautés locales et de l'économie sociale. Il y a des publications, il a écrit beaucoup en français et en anglais, enseigné à Southern New Hampshire University, à l'Université Concordia. Il a eu un poste de professeur associé à l'Université du Québec en Outaouais. Il puise ses idées autant dans ses expériences professionnelles et ses recherches que dans sa situation de personne ayant de multiples handicaps. Okay, c'est la fin. Bill a fait beaucoup. Je vais le laisser parler, mais je veux dire qu'il était penseur et praticien du développement économique communautaire d'influence au Québec et a joué un rôle clé dans le développement du réseau dans ses premières années. La Fondation Chagnon et la ville de Victoriaville viennent de terminer une série de capsules vidéo qui résument ses idées et qui sont d'une grande valeur pour tout le monde qui œuvre pour une société plus juste et équitable. Veuillez féliciter chaleureusement Bill Ninacs. Wait a minute, I have a thing just for this.
Bonjour tout le monde, merci Mike. Je remercie très sincèrement le Réseau canadien de développement économique communautaire pour ce prix. J'ai connu toutes les personnes qui l'ont mérité avant moi et je me sens vraiment très honoré de me retrouver parmi elles. Cependant, à mes yeux, le prix prend tout son sens dans le fait que j'ai travaillé avec ces personnes. C'est le avec qui est important. C'est la mise en commun de nos contributions individuelles, finalement, avec celles des autres personnes, bien entendu, qui les transforment en une action collective. Et c'est ça pour moi, le développement économique communautaire. Un effort collectif qui vise la construction d'un monde plus juste et plus équitable par un développement participatif, endogène, durable, solidaire. Merci beaucoup, le réseau. Bonjour tout le monde. Bye.
That's super. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, one thing you said to me a very long time ago was that the best thing about community economic development is the people. And it's true. So thank you for that. Now to present our third recipient, I'd like to introduce CCEDNet's Director of Regional Networks, Sarah Leeson Klim.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm the Regional Networks Director, but before I took on this role, I worked in Manitoba, so I know a lot of you from that work. And so it's my distinct pleasure today to present a Stronger Together Award to one of our long-standing and involved members, an organizational member in this case, the West Central Women's Resource Center. And so I think Lori's here on behalf of them today, and she'd probably be the first one to say that the center is not just about her, but is a collective effort of a brilliant, truly brilliant group of people. And so I admit, first of all, that I am terribly biased to be the one presenting this award. I have friends that work at the center, our former colleagues that work at the center. They've been fantastic parts of the network, but I'm also a neighbor. So the center actually serves the neighborhood that I live in, and I see the incredible work that they do from that perspective. And so we wanted to honor the work that you do, Lori, and the whole team there. I mean, you're in general a fantastic organization, but I think especially the blending of really strong direct service provision and a big vision of systems change. So we've watched you and been inspired by you integrating community economic development principles, decolonizing and feminist approaches, action research, collaboration, public policy change, and I just see that across all your work. And then even inside the center, the beautiful approach to mentorship that you use, you know, watching the center walk alongside with women in the neighborhood as they go from being recipients of service to being leaders in our community. And I've been lucky to watch that happen in my neighborhood and see people just flourish because of what you do with them. And in the network, I mean, you've been at our tables. You are part of almost someone on the team is part of almost every coalition or committee or thing that we're doing. You're at every member meeting. You have influenced our public policy agenda in Manitoba to be stronger, more feminist, more radical, I think. And then especially in this year, this really, really challenging year, I've watched how you have pivoted over and over and over again and just demonstrated so much resilience. So for me, you are, I'll look at you directly, Laura, you are, and the work that your incredible team does, you're an inspiration to me personally and a hopeful presence in my local community. And I think a real strong presence in our field. I'm grateful to what you do, for what you do. And I think you're just putting an incredible example of the dedication to inclusive and equitable communities that we see across the network. And so we wanted to honor you today. So congrats, and we love you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Wow. To be honest, we were just totally floored when we heard that we had won this award, and we're so grateful for the honor. Being a part of the CCEDNet network and the CCEDNet family has been such an amazing experience for us as well, both as learners and as leaders. And I think being able to be at network tables with people who are blazing trails forward that are more equitable and inclusive in our province has been such an honor. We haven't been as engaged nationally yet, but I think I'm definitely getting the feeling that that's the direction we need to head now. But I will say that also what we learned this last year, especially, is that none of us is in this alone. And so having this an amazing network of social service agencies, of community economic development agencies, of policy leaders, of progressive thinkers has enabled us to weather this last year as best as we possibly can. I think we could not have done it without the support of remarkable agencies and leaders throughout our city. And we're happy to be a part of it, doing our small piece of the pie. And you know, I think we're looking at a more positive road to recovery because of commitments and policy platforms and agendas like the ones put forward by CCEDNet. I think we're going to build back better, and I'm really looking forward to being a part of that movement. So thank you very much, and we're very honored.
Wow, this is, yeah, it continues to be better and better. Thank you, Laurie, and congratulations to all of you at West Central Women's Resource Center. This is great. Okay, so we're going to keep moving. For our fourth recipient, I'll call upon our Manitoba Public Policy Coordinator, Michael Barkman, to present the next award.
Thanks, Mike. Hello, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. I'm Michael. I work in our Winnipeg office. I'm really thrilled to be presenting an award, Stronger Together Award, to Fireweed Food Co-op. And I think Asha is here, my friend Asha. And maybe the last time we saw each other in person was skating on the river trail in Winnipeg when it was frozen. But seen each other a lot on Zoom, as we all are these days. So Fireweed is a cooperative of both food consumers and producers, and it's dedicated to a more stable market for locally, sustainably, and ethically produced food here in our prairie region, and to making that good food more accessible to everyone. And I think for me, they really exemplify an incredible approach to that social, economic, and environmental justice, or that triple bottom line, building fair local economies. And I've been around for a few years, but I think Fireweeds really came into their own with a name change in the last couple, and many new projects. I wanted to highlight just 3 ways that I've been able to engage over the last couple years. So Asha and another staff at Fireweed, Anna, have really thrown themselves in the last year into our advocacy work here in our regional network around social procurement with the city. And they've developed this awesome and wonderful food hub model, which was a really big gap in our city for a long time, connecting producers with consumers through a wholesale model. And much like Sarah mentioned with West Central, while doing that direct kind of service work, also really thinking from a systems change perspective and filling that gap and doing that public policy advocacy as well. Secondly, I've been a regular attendee with events that I'm really missing a lot, the South Osborne Farmers Market and special off-season events that they run, which not only allow consumers to purchase awesome local food and products, but they connect communities and often have speakers who are talking about food security and systems change work there. And this last year, they've also offered the Waste Not initiative, which has been a collaboration with an emerging mutual aid society. So I think a really amazing example of how the co-op has pivoted to provide some kind of immediate or emergency need and really bringing their vision to life. And lastly, I've had a special window into Fireweed this last year as a sort of eavesdropper. Well, my partner, who's a member of the board, and want to repeat what Mike said at the beginning, I wasn't involved in any of the selection process. But my partner, he's been attending Zoom board meetings. So one of the great things is that I'm actually able to kind of hear about things. And you can really see that as an emerging co-op over the last year, they've put equity and anti-oppression and building safer spaces really front and center in their work. It's not just an afterthought. And that obviously means so much in the context we're in. So it's been really heartwarming and exciting to hear friends and my fellow community members building Fireweed's inclusive, resilient, community-led, thoughtful business model. And I think their impact is already showing. So I'm going to pass it to you, Asha, to receive this on behalf of your awesome team, and want to thank you too personally for all of the work that you've done to build Fireweed and make our community a whole lot better.
Wow, thanks, Michael. Thanks for the introduction, and just for CCEDNet for this recognition. I'd say we're fairly new to the CCEDNet community in many ways, and we're just also quite a young organization. But we've definitely been able to tap in more this last year just by participating, as Michael said, in advocacy around social procurement, which will be really critical, I think, for our organization. And then also just like seeking counsel and support from CCEDNet, which has really been huge and really important to our work. So I don't have a lot of time to speak, but I do want to just reiterate that I am a part of a lot larger community. So I'm really honored to receive this award on behalf of not only our staff and our board, but also our co-op members, and then of course all our many, many partners and relationships that make this work possible. So as Michael mentioned, we did go through a name change like about a year ago. And I just want to highlight kind of what that means to us. So Fireweed, the plant itself, it emerges in areas that have been clear cut and destroyed by forest fire. And it helps to reestablish like a really thriving plant community by creating these lateral root networks. And we really think that that just represents like the role we want to play in the food system here in Manitoba and what we kind of need in order to build a more resilient and equitable food system. So the work of like relationship building and leading by and for community is really difficult. I'll be the first one to say that. I mean, of course, like we're working in systems that breed competition and individualism. And then everyone has, of course, all these constraints that make cooperation really challenging. And then, of course, like in our work, there's the urban and rural divide, which only seems to be growing at the same time as us coming in there and trying to bridge it. So that's definitely a huge challenge to our work. However, we strongly believe that despite like these challenges, the work of like our cooperative model, and then of course the work of community building is like ultimately going to make our work more impactful, sustainable, and equitable. So yeah, it's just really cool to be part of the community who's also doing similar work. And finally, I'd just say that of course we have a long way to go. We're so young and we're just trying to get our bearings in place in many ways, but we're really confident that these relationships and the network that we're part of is really what's going to carry us forward. So yeah, I just want to say thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Asha, and congratulations to Fireweed Food Co-op. These are all very inspiring. That's a great name. In fact, I wasn't familiar with the background, so thank you. Now to introduce our final recipient, I'd like to invite Reg Tower to speak, who is president of the Greater Dorchester Moving Forward Co-op in New Brunswick.
Okay, hi, and thank you, CCEDNet, for your support and the opportunity to nominate Wendy and speak a little bit on her behalf. I'm going to speak from our point of view about Wendy. So I'll tell you our story and where Wendy fits in. Not unlike many rural communities, I and the residents of Dorchester watched as our businesses and our youth slowly left town seeking success elsewhere. It took the threat of an imminent closure of our school that raised the hands we had been sitting on and brought us together as a community, really for the first time in a long time. the questions that we asked ourselves is, we've got to do something, but what? There's no clear solutions or crystal ball. One of our concerned citizens mentioned Wendy Keats with the reputation of working with social groups and co-ops. So upon a phone call with Wendy, she immediately asked us, do you have a place for lots of people to gather and get as many people together as possible? Okay, that seemed easy from the first meeting. From the very first meeting, Wendy did not tell us the answers that we were looking for, or didn't send us off looking for phantom funds. With her guidance, we were able as a group to identify our challenges, but also identify our strengths. And this part was motivating for us. And from there on, through Wendy's coaching, we dissected the challenges, formed committees, and the outcome was a clear vision and a mission with possibilities that can be measured. And for us, the structure of an incorporated co-op, which we did not really realize the importance of at that time, and have learned so much since. A minute and a half or an hour and a half could not tell or express all of the success that Dorchester has gone through in the past few years, and including, the thriving UNESCO candidate school and the new businesses in town. Greater Dorchester is definitely moving forward. What I have to say is that Wendy Keats was the catalyst. She was the one. Wendy lives and breathes Stronger Together, and just the title when it was brought forward by CCEDNet, Do You Have a Stronger Together Award nominee? There was no question that we had to nominate Wendy and maybe share just a little bit about what she's about. So that's more about us than it is about Wendy, but the importance is our true success. And we are moving forward. Without her, we would have been, a bunch of concerned citizens with something in common and nowhere to go, no structure, no vision. And Wendy, it is truly our honor to share this nomination with you and with others here across the whole country. And we want to thank you very much. Thank you so much, Wendy. That's it.
Wow. How great is it to get an award for doing something as amazing as working with a passionate group of people who love their community and are dedicated to it, and work together so beautifully. I mean, it's my joy and my pleasure, like it has been to be a part of CCEDNet and all these amazing people that are here on this call, old friends. Just before COVID hit, I wrote a blog called Becoming the Society We Want. And I told a story about my mother, who one day a few years before had pulled out this yellowed piece of paper from her keepsake box. And it was an essay that I had written in grade 3 about what I wanted to be when I grew up. And it said things like, I wanted to make the world a better place, a place where there was no poverty, where everybody was treated equally, a world where everyone had enough food to eat and a roof over their head. And here I am, more than a half a century later, and I'm still working for those same things. But make no mistake, I have seen tremendous change in my lifetime. And I have been so excited over the years to see people banding together, people like all of you that are here today and all of the organizations, millions of people across our communities, across the country and across the world that are working together for social justice, for equality, for inclusion, to protect our environment. You know, I remember when I started out, you know, I was the weirdo, and I think some of the older folks on this call might remember we were on the fringes. Our ideas were bizarre. Yet today we're reaching a critical mass of people who believe in the same values that we do and are committed. And there's too many of us now. We can't be stopped. It's a tsunami. We're too determined. And because we are all committed together to working together, then we're just too strong to be kept down. And so I just want to thank you. As many of you know, I'm nearing the end of my career. I'm retiring pretty much soon. And I can't think of a more treasured award to receive than the Stronger Together reward, and a more treasured organization to receive it from than CCEDNet. So thank you. I will treasure it forever.
Wonderful. Thank you, Wendy and Reg. It's you can see the comments in the chat. It is really very inspiring. And there you have all 5 of our 2021 recipients. Thank you and congratulations to everyone. In addition to our love and gratitude, the recipients will be receiving a lovely engraved wood plaque, as well as a tree planted by the social enterprise Reforest London, where all the Stronger Together award recipients have a tree planted in their honor. So now, I believe we're going to have a group hooray. We're going to invite everyone to go off mute just for a minute, I think, because the one thing I did find a bit awkward with this process is that there's the huge applause, right? We're missing, like, how do we convey the love? So I think everyone just goes off mute and say hooray or applaud just for a minute or a few seconds. Let's do that right now. Ready?
All right.
Hooray!
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody.
Félicitations tout le monde.
So richly deserved. Thank you. And so now are we going to do, there's a little song here that's quite special. And even though we're behind schedule, I think we're going to do it, or just a minute of it at least. And I hope if there's anyone else from Fireweed or West Central Women's Resource Center on the line, if you want to put up your hand, we'll make sure we get you spotlighted as well onto the stage. And I think we're going to do just a brief song. Is that right?
Yes, and I'd like to just acknowledge that the song was written for Wendy Keats by Michael Averill, who's here with us as a special guest today. Michael, if you could wave, we thank you so much. And Wendy, thank you for the song. We hope it becomes the theme song for these awards. We're so lucky to have heard it. And so we're going to just share for you the YouTube remix now, which features a lot of community members. Michael, is there anything you'd like to say about the song before we play it?
Hey, well, it's such an honor to be here. What a treat, having met Wendy and been a friend, and just, yeah, I think just in general, this came out as a response to Wendy's birthday and inviting her artist pals to write a song or something for her creatively. And I sent her an email and she said, I was like, well, if you had something you could say to the world, what would it be? And she just literally had one line, that we're stronger together. And I was like, perfect, let's do it. So this is how it came from that. So congrats to all. This is just such a treat to hear about what you're all doing and what a great impact you're having in the country and the world.
Thank you so much.
Okay, here we go. Hopefully, just let me know if you can't hear or see it, and I'll try to reset it up here.
Can't hear it.
No sound.
I'll try again here.
It's worth the wait.
It takes one to have a bright idea. Two to share the worry. It takes three to split the weight when it's too much to carry. It takes four to build a shelter that withstands the weather. Anyone can do it alone, but we're stronger together. Like links in a steel chain, we are stronger together. Like a tool belt full of tools, we are stronger together. Like muscles in the body, we are stronger together. Anyone can do it alone, we can all use a little help. Like a Roman pack of wolves, we are stronger together. Like feathers on a wing, we are stronger together. Like laughter with a friend, we are stronger together. Anyone can do it alone, but we all use a little help. Like members of a family, we are stronger together. Like a forest full of trees, we are stronger together. Like water in a river, we are stronger together. Anyone can do it alone, but we can all use a little help. Takes one to have a bright idea. Two to share the worry. Three to split the weight when it's too much to carry. It takes four to build a shelter that withstands the weather. Anyone can do it alone, but we're stronger together. We are stronger together.
That's definitely an anthem. Thank you, Michael. Congratulations. Welcome, everyone. Or yes, well, congratulations and thank you. We're running just a bit behind schedule, but I think before we wrap up this section of the agenda, Adriana, did you want to come up just to say a few words? Because this was a great next step in the Stronger Together Awards, but this happens every year now, and we have lots more to celebrate too. So Adriana?
Hi, everyone. So our next nominations will take place early spring of next year. So that's 2022. And we'll give you all plenty of time and opportunity to nominate your fellow member peers and member organizations. But you also don't have to wait until next spring to do so. If you have someone in mind now that has inspired you through the impact that they're making, you can certainly be in touch with me at any time. And we'll be sending more information about those details through our next member communique, which is going to be coming out in July. Thanks very much.